Well, let's speak about agroforestry amendments and fertilization. The amendment is a type of addition of a substance that creates a better soil environment that is needed to improve the soil nutrient absorption supplied by plants. Fertilization, on the other hand, aims at supplying nutrients directly to increase both the tree and the soil production in the case of agroforestry. Because we have to fertilize two types of different crops, we can consider that agroforestry has an intensive nutrient demand, as we will see afterwards. It should be promoted with organic fertilizers because of the recommendation of the European Commission that aims at recycling nutrients, and the type of fertilization to be applied it depends on the type of soils, as we will see afterwards. Well, we will show in this presentation different experiments where we see the behavior, the joint behavior between the tree growth and fertilization using organic fertilizers because they have the capacity to add organic matter, usually improving soil water retention, indeed necessary or needed for trees, and the neutral growth and the neutral or basic pH of this organic fertilizer that enhance the grass growth. Well, let's see first of all an example of an area that is very acidic where we make an application of fertilizers, organic fertilizers coming from an agri-food farm that produces cabbage nuts. These cabbage nuts are well similar to agar-agar, okay? And we will see what is when we add different doses here. For example, in the case of Pinus Pinus radiata, taking into account the height, the diameter, and the ratio of the height and diameter of the trees, we can see that initially there is an increase from no fertilization to 8 tons per hectare of this organic fertilizer of the tree diameter and tree height, and this can be due to an increase in the nutrient supply in soils with a low pH. However, when we add 12 to 16 tons, we increase the soil fertility because this fertilizer also increases the soil pH, and this causes an increase on the grass production and a reduction because of the competition between the grass production and the grass and the tree, a reduction on the tree growth. Okay. Afterwards, if I give enough nutrients, an amendment, so enough organic fertilizer, both the trees and the grass grow up. We will see that afterwards. The same can be said for eucalyptus. Both of them are high, fast-growing tree species. When we make a similar experiment with the same doses and the same type of organic fertilizer with chestnut aloe, which are slow tree growth species, and they are usually high in their minds. They usually have demands of nutrients and are usually grown in soils with better nutrient supply. We don't see any type of difference between the treatments. Let's move on now to an experiment where we're working with Corpus with 5 fertilization doses. Here we can see that when we increase the dose, we increase the pH. In this case, the organic fertilizer is what is large. We can see the same effect one before. No fertilization has low tree height and diameter growth than the first dose, but when we increase the doses due to the increase of grass, as we will see in this next slide, a reduction in the tree growth because of the competition is produced. Here we can see what we were mentioning in both cases in the pasture production into years that went to 2003-2004, where we can see that in the no fertilization and the first dose is the grass production is low. That's the reason why we have an increase on the tree diameter and height. But when we have an increase of pasture growth, then the tree is height and diameter is reduced. Using different type of organic and mineral fertilizers in different type of soils creates different answers. For example, in agricultural land with low fertility, low organic matter level, and a pH of 5 to 5.5 to 6, we can see that when we do not add fertilizers, which is the green box, the low fertilization treatment, compared with fertilizers, the sewage sludge, the L, and inorganic fertilizer, we can see that if we fertilize, we increase productivity. Okay, but there is no residual effect of the sewage sludge in the second year. When we see what happened with the tree height, we see that no fertilization in this agricultural land that has enough fertility for tree growth, the lack of fertilization makes that the tree takes the nutrients from the soil. However, if I add inorganic fertilization, is the grass the one that does it, that increases the productivity, and therefore there is a competition with the tree, and therefore it doesn't grow. However, when we add the sewage sludge of the tree and the pasture production is high, and this is the reason behind is that because the tree increases the soil the addition of sewage sludge increases the soil organic matter content, and therefore the water capacity rotation, which is one of the main limiting factors for tree growth, in this case Pinus radiata, during the summertime in Galicia. If we move to a forest land with a very low fertility, high organic matter, and a pH between 4.5 and 5, we can see that we added another treatment, which is liming. We can see that the green, the treatment of the low fertility, is low for pasture and tree volume. When we add only lime, we can see that the tree growth is increased because it has a high organic matter content, which means that the mineralization rate is activated and the nutrient supply appears. But it's not enough, this nutrient supply for the tree growth, for the pasture growth. When we see what happened with the organic fertilizer, we see that opposite what will happen with the agricultural lands with a higher pH and better conditions for grass production. In here, the grass is not able to absorb the nutrient, and that's because the soil pH is very low and it has not the capacity to be increased. However, the addition of mineral fertilizer means that the tree is able to gather it because the grass is not able to gather it. When we apply sewage sludge, because with sewage sludge you increase also the soil pH, as it has calcium also, pasture production is increased, and this causes a competition with the tree growth, and the tree growth is not increasing. We can see that depending on the type of soil, agricultural land or forest land, inorganic fertilizer means a reduction of the production of the tree, but in the forest lands with very low pH, this means a high increase of tree production, and the opposite happening with pasture production. This means that the effect of organic fertilization on agroforestry practices, when we don't apply enough nutrients for the tree and the pasture or the crop, it means that the response depends on the soil characteristics. So, as a conclusion, I would like to say that low doses of fertilizers in acidic soils causes a reduction in the tree growth whenever the crop is able to take the nutrients to the competition. Fertilization should take into account that agroforestry has been nutrient demanding. Organic fertilization should be promoted in sandy soils as it increases soil fertility for crops while improving water rotation capacity to enhance tree growth in areas with greater shortage summer. Limiting organic rich acidic soils provides enough nutrient to allow tree growth, and inorganic fertilizers should be used to increase tree growth, while organic fertilizers improve grassland production in soils if soils are acidic. Thank you very much.